and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu leshalom. Ve'ha'amidenu shomreinu lechayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu leshalom. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu leshalom. Ve'ha'amidenu shomreinu lechayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu leshalom. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu leshalom. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. L'chunar Anana is on page 130. Feel free to follow along in your Mishkan Tefillah. L'chunar Anana, yai rai 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 rai, l'Adonai, yai rai 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 rai, Naria, yai rai 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 rai, Litzor Yishenu, yai rai 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 rai. Let us sing out to God, the maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of creation from mountain to sea hear our song. Lechu neranena, yai rai 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 rai, l'Adonai, yai rai 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 rai, Naria, yai rai 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 rai, Litzor Yishenu, yai rai 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 rai. For all of the wonder in all of God's light, we rejoice. So now let us listen with all of our hearts to hear God's voice. Lechu neranena, lai rai 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 rai, l'Adonai, yai rai 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 rai, Naria, yai rai 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 rai, Litzor Yishenu, yai rai 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 rai. Page 142, we welcome in the angels of Shabbat, that they might come and join us and bring us a peaceful and restful Shabbat. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Alechem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We prepare now with the lights of Shabbat and the sweetness of our wine. We are on page 121 as some friends join me up front. Pull that mic down.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'havik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. The heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing. And God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh, zecher letziat mitzrayim, ki vanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol hamim, v'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. L'chaim. It's a lovely Tuesday vintage. You know, I'm reminded as we light these lights and welcome in Shabbat, whether you watched it this morning or you're going to hop off at 7:30, the opening games of the Olympics conclude with the lighting of the torch, of the flame, and how it is that in so many cultures, light is the essence of who we all are. So as we light these Shabbat candles tonight, along with the Jews of the world, reminding ourselves that we are one global human family that are so beautifully represented, hopefully with a healthy and exciting Olympic Games. We continue with L'Chadodi on page 138. L'Chadodi likrat kala penei Shabbat נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשמו תפארת ולתהילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה התעוררי התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי 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 שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה בואי ושלום עטר בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה. Page 146, we remain standing for our call to worship, our Baruch Hu. Yada da da da, 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 yada da da da. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Yada da da da, 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 yada da da da. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day. day turns to night, roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night, Borei Yom V'Halayla, Golel Or Mipnei Choshech, Golel Or Mipnei Choshech, V'Choshech Mipnei Or. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated on page 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol me'odecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha, vedibarta bam, beshiftecha bevetecha, uvlechtecha vaderech, uvshochbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot aliadecha, vehayu letotafot beinenecha, Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha lema'an tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Lihiot lachem lelohim, ani Adonai Elohechem. Please join me on page 159. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravaged by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. Adonai, mi kamocha nedar bakodesh, mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar bakodesh. Nora tehilot, o seifele, nora tehilot, o seifele, Adonai. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים. זה אלי ענו ואמרו, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. We pray now those words of peace that should feel like a warm blanket. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. That deep breath, that sigh that happens when we're just comfortable. May that feeling surround you on this Shabbat. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chayim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chayim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chayim. Page 162. V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat. V'shameru la'asot et haShabbat lidorotam. Berit olam. Let's try that together. V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat. V'shameru la'asot et haShabbat lidorotam. Berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat. On page 164, we rise as one community for the Amidah. We join together. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Bekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar michamocha bal gevurot umido melach melech memit umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman atal hachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hakol Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, ukdoshim b'chol yom yehallelu Selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Please be seated and join me on page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat. You'll find in your handout the words of gratitude for our verses of Modim this evening, which focus on the Olympics. On page 178, we join together in our prayer for peace, the words of Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. טוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה לשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai hambarich et amo Yisrael Bashalom. We take a few moments in our own personal shalom, our own meditations. Ya'aseh shalom, hu ya'aseh shalom, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down. Oh, say shalom. Shalom. ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May we find peace. May the one who makes peace bring peace down. On page 371, we turn our thoughts and our prayers to those in our community in need of healing, healing of the body, healing of the mind, healing of the spirit. These words of Misha Berach hopefully bring us a bit of hope and bring those in need a bit of healing. Misha Berach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Within our community, we share the names and pray for the names of Evan Bin, Laura Carlos, John Conway, Mark Edelstein, Benjamin Edelstein, Brian Edelstein, Danielle Heyman Feist, Linda Fine, Eric Fisk, Albert Gart, Bob Gold, Buddy Green, Vicky Haino, Kevin Harris, Lori Katelman, Jerry Klein and Bonnie Brzezowski, Hank Koren, Wendy Sugarman Krosnoff, Stephen Levine, Dr. Sonia Link, Michael Lynch, Elsa Mikosh, Dolores Music, John Parsonson, Ruth Polar, Jane Rifkin, Jess Rifkin, Don Rolander, Rhoda Ross, Liesel Schick, Michelle Schorsch, Bob Seiler, Stuart Solomon, Dr. Cindy Steinman, Pete Tanner, Michael Vera, Marcia Weinberg, and Dr. Drew Weissman. If there are any names which you would pronounce differently or add to this list, I'll ask you to share them as I look your way. And to all of you at home, please say these names aloud, that the people with you might hear them and that we might take them into our hearts with our prayers as well. Misha Berach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. So I've been a little absent for the last 2 weeks, but I promise you I've been working really hard. I just returned from URJ Camp Coleman, and this year the faculty were part of the programming team, so we played a much more active role in camp. It was a privilege to be there representing this community and spending time with our youth. My life's passion for Jewish music and becoming a cantor began as a camper at Camp Coleman a very long time ago. This was my first time back in 20 years. It was amazing to return to the camp community for such a new perspective. The faces of campers have changed, but the mission and the impact of camp remains strong. I love seeing the new ways camp is building Jewish identity and pride. It built me, so it's amazing to see that continue L'Ador Vador. The camp has responded to the modern camper in wonderful ways. As well, some things remain as part of the tradition of the heart of camp. This balance of old and new was present everywhere. So I give you the top 10 list of my week at Camp Coleman. And really the list could go on and on, but I've narrowed it down to 10. So all together now, 10. All together now, 10. There we go. Group participation. Number 10 was the lake. So the lake, when I was a camper, I had no interest in whatsoever, but I was with a really great faculty team that were really interested in the lake, and all of the staff kept encouraging us to go in the lake and do the lake things. So the blob was there when I was a camper. I had never blobbed nor been blobbed. Now I have. Oh, thank you. I'm getting a round of applause in here for blobbing. If you don't know what a blob is, it's a giant sack of air on the lake that one person jumps on, goes to the end, another person jumps on the other end, and the verb is to blob them into the lake. You might need to see a video of that. There was also the iceberg, which you climb to the top of and then slide down into the lake. Good fun. But my favorite was the zip line down into the lake, which I had zip-lined before, but never into the lake. So zip-line got top rating from me. So now we're on to number 9. The Art Center. So when I was a camper, the Art Center was led by Grace Sherman. 29 years ago, she began underneath the Elisheva, for those of you who are familiar with camp. And now the old dining hall, the entire building, is the Minsky Art Center, and Grace Sherman is still running the Art Center 29 years later. And as much as I loved it as a camper, I also loved it this past week. We spent time with our units doing lots of different things, so I got to tie-dye a new shirt, which I'm quite excited about, and did glass mosaic of a new mezuzah. It is absolutely incredible the things that Grace allows campers to learn how to make, and actually a lot of the things that I enjoy doing as an adult now in my free time, I think I got a lot of those fine motor skills from camp, doing wood burning and lanyard and all of those fine motor kind of artistic things, so it helps with my needlepoint now. So, number 8. They're getting better. Morning Shirah. So because camp is a little bit different this year, the ability to be all together as one camp and sing together is rare. Because the meals needed to be split with younger campers and older campers, it created a real scheduling challenge. So in between early breakfast and late breakfast, we met on the field, everybody in their own square on the field, and we would have morning shira, some wake-up music, Modeh Moda'ani, and it was really quite exciting because it was one of the few times during the week that we were all together as a whole camp. The only other time that happens was lighting candles and kiddush for Shabbat. So morning was an exciting time for us to be all together. Number 7. The faculty. So the faculty were other colleagues of mine from the Florida, Georgia, Tennessee region, and being new to this area, I knew some of them, but had the opportunity to learn and work with them, and it's really great to get to know new colleagues. And when rabbis and cantors and Jewish educators get together, we do really nerdy things, and it's fantastic. But had a lot of fun getting to know them. Number 6. Rock song session. So one of the things I loved as a camper was a song leader with a guitar getting up at the front of the room and singing "If I Had a Hammer," right? We're familiar with that model. Well, it's not that that kind of singing doesn't happen, but now the notion of a song session is kind of like a rock concert. There's guitar and drums and bass and vocals, and it's loud and exciting, and all of that energy that we used to bring to Hevenu Shalom Aleichem is now being brought with modern Jewish music, with this modern instrumentation. And you might say, oh, I liked it the way it used to be. It's amazing. The ability to experience it in its modern form and see the energy and the excitement of the campers and the counselors, absolutely amazing. I got to fulfill my lifelong dream, apparently, of being a backup vocalist at a rock concert. And with Jewish music, it really doesn't get any better than that. Number 5, Shabbat. So this was one of those times when it felt new and old at the same time. When the entire camp dresses in white, magic happens. Suddenly we go from being 6 different units, 7 different units, however many different cabins, 20 cabins. And when we all dress in white, we are one camp. It's Shabbat. It couldn't be anything else. And being able to support campers in the role of leaders on Shabbat was incredibly special, because that same spot where I learned I wanted to be a cantor, I was able to stand and support the young people leading their camp community. So a real full circle kind of moment on Shabbat. Number 4, Judy Lamore. So you don't know who Judy Lamore is. Judy Lamore is the first song leader who handed me 2 copied pages of guitar chords when I was 14, 13, something along those lines. And you might think, well, that's not such a big deal, but that really got me started. Judy Lamore walked up on Shabbat. She is the new director of the upcoming adventure camp that will be opening next summer at Camp Coleman, a specialty camp for outdoorsy ninja course. There's all of these really exciting things coming. But I saw her for the first time in no clue how many years, and realized that I was going to get to lead her in Shabbat, and she was the first person who gave me any kind of tools to do that, which was just unexpected and really, really special. Number 3. So I was attached to the Kochavim unit, which are rising 5th graders. And because this year it was a different role for faculty, not only did I get to do kind of the Jewish learning with them, I also spent a period with them doing Shirah and getting to know them. And I loved this notion of the faces changed, but the mission is the same. I really loved getting to watch these young people let loose and be kids. A lot of them have been locked up for a really long time, and they were so happy to be with other kids. It was just wonderful to see them in their normal, natural environment at camp, the happy place. Number 2 are the counselors. The counselors had a lot of different rules that they had to deal with this year because of keeping camp safe. The number 1, they never left camp. When they had a day off, they spent time in other parts of the camp. They didn't sleep outside of their cabins at night. These counselors have been with their campers every single day since May 29th or whenever they arrived for staff week. And that sounds like, oh, that's their job. And you would get a babysitter every now and again and give yourself a night off. And the counselors are working so hard and doing such an amazing job. I was thoroughly impressed with them and their fortitude and their enthusiasm for their campers to have a phenomenal summer. Number 1, The number one thing was the music team. So I mentioned this rock song session. The music team is led by a guy named Drew Cohen, phenomenal musician from Atlanta. And they're not song leaders. They are the music team because they do so much more than just lead songs. They create a musical vision that includes something called Coleman Rocks, which I wasn't able to see at the end of the summer. They create bands within camp, and they perform for each other. The music is absolutely phenomenal. I learned a ton of new stuff, and in particular, the first week I was there, Charlie Kramer was the musician in residence, the artist in residence, and Charlie is a new Jewish musician to me, and to spend the week learning with him, learning his music, but also learning about what else he does. Charlie, as much as he is a Jewish musician, is also a disabilities awareness specialist. He comes to that as a blind man. And he was so open and authentic about who he is with our young people, they fell in love with him. He did a phenomenal program called Singing in the Dark, where our older campers wore a mask and experienced music and story and kind of self-exploration in the dark. And he brought such a wonderful light to camp. So I've gone through my list. I'm going to finish off with a piece of Charlie's that I thought was really beautiful. And keeping in mind, he has some really beautiful music that the language speaks to the fact that he's blind, and allows us to enter into a much deeper, thoughtful place with the words that he encourages us to sing. So I share this with you. It's a version of Adonai Sfatai. The words are in your handout. Feel free to experience it. If you find you want to sing along, by all means. But that is where I'll close this evening. Adonai Sifatai Tivta Ufiagi Tehilatecha Adonai Sifatai Tivta Ufiagi Tehilatecha. Open up our lips so we may praise your name. Open up our hearts so we can feel our pain. Open up our souls to let our love make us whole, and we will praise your name. Do you hear us? Can you listen? Will you hear our prayer? Do you hear us? Can you listen? Will you hear our prayer? Do you hear us? Can you listen? Will you hear our prayer? Do you hear us? Can you listen? Will you hear our prayer? Adonai Sifatai Tivta Ufiagid Tehilatecha. On page 586, We rise for Aleinu L'Shabeach. Would someone like to open the ark? President and past president. Thank you. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'tekeru la'liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu kore'im umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai, lemelech al kol ha'aretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. Thank you, Nina and Polly. Please be seated. Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. In our community, we remember Marcia Altschuler, Harold Azarva, Harry Bellick, Raphael Borelli, Howard Brickman, Louis Brodney, Charles Burdash, Herman Karp, Arlene Chernoff, you can never remember enough. We begin with those whom we've lost in this past year. Solomon Bloom, Max Schmid, Louis Lederer, Deborah Nader, Ted Ross, Helen Roth, Ruth Jean Oberlander, Mark Enfinger, Alan Beer, Judy Guy Strickland, Carolee Pizzuti, Elaine Miller, Ethan Perry, Judy Fine, Beverly Rosen, Adele Daniels, Robert Pizzuti, Lily Singer, and Shelley Foreman. And on Yahrzeit today, we remember Anthony Tony Philip Burke, Kaufman Carl Berman, Adeline Bin, Lillian Last Brody, Jack Cooper, Maria Kovacic, Robert Daniels, Morris Glass, Florence Goldberg, Eleanor Berman Goldstein, Louis M. Goldstein, Jack Gross, Ben Jacobs, Lawrence S. Katz, Beatrice G. Katzman, Leslie Crone, Maidwin Lobel, Rebecca Mensch, Samuel Nathan Person, Mildred Polin, Harry Raymond, Mary Schaefer, Esther Schaffer, Shirley Schwartz, Morris Seidner, Anita Schinbaum, Mildred Schlossman, Jeffries E. Stampelman, and Dorothy Weinzheimer. If there are any names which you would add to these lists or pronounce differently, please share them as I look your way. And to all of you at home, please take this moment to share your names as we rise. And join on page 598 in Kaddish Yatom. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divarach hirute v'amlich malchute. B'chayachon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe shemei rabba mevarach le'elam ulamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei kudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Please be seated. May their memories be for a blessing. And we have our president to share some exciting things coming up with us.
Thank you, Cantor. Thank you, Eve. And I finally am going to remember, thank you, Keith, in the video booth. Welcome and Shabbat Shalom. For those of you who are new to Temple B'nai Israel, welcome. And those who are the regulars, it was great sitting out there hearing you sing. I felt like I was in the choir. We do have several events coming up on the temple calendar. Next Saturday, the 31st, we're having Havdalah on the beach at Sand Key. But make sure before you go, call the temple, check the website. Between red tide and the rain, we may have to use a backup location. Then that following week on August 5th, which is a Thursday, we're having TBI on Tap. It's a comeback, reconnect. We're having an event at a brewery in Clearwater. It's on the back of your supplements. And then on August 20th, if you loved listening to Cantor sing tonight, just wait. August 20th, she's going to be here with that rock and roll band, maybe?
We're putting our own together.
Putting Temple B'nai Israel rocks. That's August 20th. It's a welcome back, welcome home Shabbat, and I hope everyone can join us. And then the following week, we kick off our high holiday season with Slichot. It's a new reimagined program that will culminate with us changing the covers of our Torahs from what you saw today, to the white ones. Also, we are going to be mailing everybody a postcard with these events. Now, when you get it, don't put it in the junk mail or the recycle bin. I want you to take it, put it on your refrigerator with a magnet so you know that everything is coming. And every time you go and open the fridge, you'll see it and you'll know to come to Temple B'nai Israel. We're having a rummage sale coming up. Come clean out your house with your slightly used, no longer needed items. Bring them to the temple. We'll sort through them. We'll put them out, and we'll have a big, giant, community-wide rummage sale. If you're here and you have some questions, you can ask Renee Ramey. She's always involved in that. And Cantor, I will have to tell you that the number one thing about Camp Coleman for parents is the 4 weeks we have knowing that our children are enjoying themselves, but getting to be at home with an empty nest. So that's the number one for some of the parents who are here can identify with that. So I'd like to thank everyone who's made a donation to the Torah Circle this year, and everyone who's a member of our Life and Legacy program. Thank you very much for remembering Temple B'nai Israel in the future. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. We've got some challah. I think there's challah under here. Is that on? It is. Look at that. It's pretty too. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. For those of you here in person, we have an oneg just on the other side of the doors. I invite you to join us. For those of you at home, I hope you are enjoying a cookie. Take my place back here, and we will close our service tonight with Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, shalom. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Shabbat Shalom, and for those who are looking forward, a happy Olympics. May everyone stay healthy, play well, play good sports peopleship, and may we enjoy the games. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat.